All right, ladies and gents, here we are. It's Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. I need to pull the live video up, so give me a second. All right. And hopefully I'll be able to see comments or anything as you guys go. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, if you haven't already printed out your paper, maybe with the pumpkins from the image that I had yesterday, you can maybe put it on your phone to the side, or however you can do this, or just watch me step by step. It should be pretty simple. All right, so my canvas is, I believe, 11 by 14. It's not an 8 by 10, it's a little bit bigger. So if you have an 8 by 10, it'll probably go way faster, but I have to cover a little bit more room. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with, I'm gonna do black first and then put some gray in it once we get there. Okay, so I'm just gonna open up my black and take one of my really fat brushes. I'll do my I'll do this one because there's a lot of paint strokes you can see in the background of that picture, so I'm going to do this one. It's just stained. That's a big fat round brush. Okay, so I'm just going to dip it in my black. I didn't put my black on a palette because I knew I was going to use a lot of it, so I was just going to go straight from the jar. Okay, and this is going to be a fun fall festive painting. They're a lot of fun to do for like decorating and stuff like that, since it's that time of year. Everybody's getting out their fall decor already, so I figured this would be a good thing to do. All right, so another thing, make sure you, under your painting, that you have something to catch any paint or anything that might come out from the edges. My table is glass, so I can clean it pretty easily. That's the only reason I don't. So I'm going to cover up all of this. You could use a wider brush. Sometimes it's just easier to use a bigger brush, but I wanted to see some of the paint strokes when I do some of the gray, so I'm using this brush for now. And just try to get it covered. You don't want to see a whole lot of white if you can get your sides too. You could do a different color than black if you wanted for your background. I know some of you probably like different colors. I probably would have done purple because most of my fall decor is like purple glitter and green and stuff like that. Like I like bright colors even for Christmas and stuff. So it all depends on what you want, but black is what is on the picture, so black is what I'm doing, and we'll just go for it. So let me know you're here, say hi. It's not showing who's all here, but if you guys have any questions, make sure to let me know. I'll try to answer them as we go. All the paint that I have is pretty inexpensive. If you feel like you can't afford it, I know a lot of the paints that I have are the apple barrel paints, which you can get at Walmart for like 50 cents. So the current one I'm using is Basics Liquitex, only because I don't have a black apple barrel one. I used all that one, so that's the only reason I'm using this Liquitex paint. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to cover all the sides and keep getting. So if you're looking for inexpensive brushes, I can tell you, like at Walmart, this is from Walmart, and it's over in the Crayola section, you know, where they have all the crayons and the markers for Crayola. These are Crayola paint brushes. I used to get them for my after school program kids because they're just easier to use for kids typically, and I have used them for kids paint parties, but they come in like a 4-pack, and there's I think like 4 different sizes. This is the biggest one. They also, in the arts and crafts area, have brushes too that are pretty inexpensive. They're usually come in like a multi-pack, and I get them there too. I don't think any of my brushes have come anywhere but from Walmart, except for my personal brushes that I've got from Amazon. But even those I've used to the excess, so they're getting old. But these have stood the test of time, all these brushes. So if you're looking for a sturdy brush that's not very expensive, these Crayola ones are pretty good. Don't mind me being messy over here. So I'm trying to get this whole thing covered in black and get my edges before I go on to the next color. Try to get all that white covered. Another way you could do this, I have spray paint. Spray paint can work too. But it's just a lot more fun to get messy, I think. So here we go. Alright. And then I'm just gonna assume I'm getting the top. Alright. Now I'm gonna let this dry a little bit, not too much. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with my gray. So you're probably gonna have to mix a white with a black if you don't have a gray. I have one called Pavement, so it's a little bit like, it's an apple barrel called Pavement. Hi, Addie. And I'm gonna add a little bit of white to it because it's pretty dark, so it's gonna eat up my black if I put it on there. So I'm not gonna rinse my brush off because I want it to kind of blend. So I'm just gonna mix it until I get like this. And I'm just gonna go all over with it. You can do short strokes, long strokes, whatever. Just get some gray in there. This is probably a little bit longer. Like I probably should have used a fatter brush. You know what? I'm going to. Alright, so I'm going to use one of these brushes and do my gray. See, I like the fatter strokes with the gray. And kind of move it in together. Now it's going to take off some of that black, so be careful. And I just want to blend a little bit. I don't want it super blended. And so I'm going to go like half white, half gray. I'm going to keep going. Alright, and try to smooth it out a little. Alright. See the flat brush? So this one is a brush I got at Walmart. These come in a 2-pack. They were out of them today, but they're typically like $4.87 or something like that. So I'm just going in and trying to get some chunky brush strokes. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to cover most of it with pumpkin, right? So that's the fun part. Okie dokie. Got some spooky gray in there. And just make sure you don't have canvas coming through. White streaks of paint, that's fine, but canvas you don't want coming through. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this brush off because I feel like that's pretty good. Alright. And I'm going to put both of those in there. Alright. Close up my black for now. And let this dry for a minute. Typically, I'll put this in front of the fan, give it a few minutes. But I'll go ahead and we'll sit for a second and wait. So while we're waiting for that, let's get our oranges together. So this is called Fitting Jack-o'-lantern. Obviously I've used it, so I don't know if you can see it, but it's Jack-o'-lantern orange. So I'm gonna use this one for that dark orange color. It's not really dark, it's more of a bright, but, and then this one, you can always just use that color and mix like a light yellow or a white, and this one's apricot. So I'm going to use this one too. And then probably some white and yellow. And then green for the stem. So white. So I'm getting all my paints together. Try to not mix them up. Unfortunately, when I use my plate as a palette, they like to mix. I'll try not to. Okay, what else do we need? I'm just gonna keep that gray kind of for what we need later, but the white dots is probably what we're gonna do. I'd say we'll do the outline of the pumpkins first, and then we'll do the white dots. We'll see. We'll see how it dries and how we go with it. All right, so once you get your palette all together, let me know. I'm gonna try to get this thing to dry. So let's see, I'm gonna put it in front of my fan. All right, let me know if you have any questions about like upcoming stuff. We're gonna turn my fan up. We're gonna do some really fun ones. I think I showed you guys in the last video. If you can get these like square little canvases, these are 4x4s. I got them on Amazon. If you can get them at Walmart or Michael's or someplace else like that, we just need square, and you need 6 of them. We're gonna do Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like a little craft paint project, and we're gonna do that on October 9th. So if you don't have them yet, you might want to get those. And then like black, green, orange, purple paints, like a variety. And once you get those, we can do that project on the 9th. I'm excited about that one. I do have more coming, more paintings, but the next one we're going to do is, it's going to be a landscape. So you need a magazine clipping for that one. So if you have magazines or you print out a landscape picture on your printer, you can do that too. And we're going to do an art project drawing on that one, and I think that's October 2nd. So we're going to do that one in a couple of weeks. I forget what one we're going to do. Let me check real quick on my calendar while I'm waiting for this to dry still. Let me check on my calendar. Hopefully by next week I will be able to figure out what the heck and how to record and edit my videos. I have a husband who does it all the time, but I don't do it that often, so I have to figure it out. All right, fall trees is going to be our next one. And when we're done with this, I'll post up the picture for that one. But all right, so this is taking a little while to dry, and it's because it's not the craft paints that I normally use. It's the Liquitex, so it's a little bit more, I guess, like a rubbery texture, kind of. It's more of a latex type feel, but yeah, so it might take mine a little bit more to dry. Let's see, I'll try to see if I can start with my painting and see if it'll let me paint over this. It might not, but we'll see. Okay, so I use, for this part I'm going to use a round brush. They're just easier to draw with when you have the tip pointed. And so for the outline of our pumpkins, I'm going to try that real quick. So I'm just going to roll it into this orange and try to make a point. So you want just enough paint on there that you're going to be able to draw it. Okay, so I love the variation of pumpkins. So it's funny how many times I've done pumpkin paintings and they always look like bottoms before we get them all painted. So they're pretty interesting to try and draw. But so think of it in sections. So see, this is gonna, I'm gonna have to go back over this, but I'm just showing you. So I'm gonna go from the top and go down. And it's probably about, this is a tall pumpkin, but it's kind of a fat, tall pumpkin. So you go down, and it's like a long C shape, if you think about it. All right. So I'm not going to worry about it blending right now because I can paint over this. But be careful for you if you're just starting and it's not dry yet, okay? So then I'm going to go in another section, and it comes up like right here, right? And then you have this, and then you're going to have your small pumpkin over here. I'm just going to quickly kind of outline this area like that, okay? You can kind of see it. It doesn't have to be like really bright. You just need to kind of outline where you're going, okay? So that's your small pumpkin. Now this, and then this, like so, okay? So just think of like, they're like sections of these curved C kind of, or like U's. And they all kind of go together at the bottom and the top. So there we go. All right, not perfect, but I'm gonna paint it back when I get there. So mine's still blending a little bit, so I won't be able to paint until it dries for a minute. But here's my outline, okay? I'm just gonna give a couple curves into my little pumpkin here. Okay. And that way you know where you're going with the curves when you go back. And, okay. So there's that. It's a little messy, but it'll look good once we get it all filled in. Okay. So I'll let it dry just a little bit more. This is the one good thing that would help when I do recording is we don't have to wait for it to dry. So I'm looking forward to that part. While I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm going to outline my stem. Okay. So I've got, now you don't have to do the swirls and stuff until you get, you know what, let's wait for our stem. I'll do this one though. I'm going to wait for the stem on the little guy. So, and it's kind of a curve, like so. So go lightly with your brush when you do the curve. It'll help. Not blend it in too much. Okay. And your strokes, so they kind of look like the variations in the stem there. Going up like so, okay? All right. And there's our stem, looking curvy. There we go. All right. And then you can do the leaves and stuff a little bit later. and we'll work on getting the paint all over the pumpkin the next part. All right. I think I'm gonna have to use a fatter brush for the inside of my pumpkin. I'm gonna dry that brush off and go and use a bigger, kind of a soft brush. I don't want anything hard on this surface, so let's see if I can cover this paint. Oh. Hold on. Okay, I gotta go back. Hold on, you guys. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna try to paint this, even though it's still a little wet. If you go lightly over the paint, it won't mix as much, but mine is still wet, so I'm gonna have to make sure I get some black this next time, so it'll dry faster. So I kind of try to go with like the strokes you see on the pumpkin itself. So up and down variations. So go lightly if you can, so you're not mixing your paints together. In these sections, when you paint them, they kind of go in their own little, so you can see where they're at when you go to outline them a little bit. So I'm going over my wet paint because I have to, so I can show you guys what we're doing here. But if you can wait, that's probably the best bet. But I'm gonna keep going until I get this covered here. All right, I need some more orange. And this paint should dry pretty quickly, the orange, but and go up, up, up. Trying to go lightly so it doesn't mix, but there we go. It sure does like that black. All right, continue with the next section here. Like so. And the next. And then you should have your little pumpkin, well, your big one, just about done. And then we're gonna let that dry while we do the little one. So try to blend it in just a little bit, not too much. See, this part right here does not want me to paint it. There we go. It's a little bit better. Alright, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead on that one. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. Now I'm going to go, because my little pumpkin's just about dry, so I'm just going to go ahead and do with this brush, because the strokes are probably, yep, just about the size of the sections I need. Okay. There we go. And there. See, that was a lot smoother. I'm gonna go back over on this side just a smidge. Yeah. Doesn't like it. Okay, which is fine because it goes, you go black over that anyway. All right. Try to get this to blend in. Here we go. All right. Now I'm gonna work on the stems a little bit so I can let that pumpkin dry. I'm gonna do the outside part of the stems. Maybe we should work on the little white circles so we can let our pumpkin dry a little bit. Dry off that brush just a smidge. All right, and now I'm gonna get a smaller round brush like this, and that's where I'm gonna get my white. Now drawing circles can be a little tough, okay, but I don't have a steady hand, so I'm gonna try. Typically I would do these with like a white paint marker, but if you go carefully you should be able to do it like so. All right, and just kind of vary your circles. And don't get too much on that paintbrush. It's just, you need a pointed tip so you can draw and fill that in, okay? And right here. So like I said, I'm not perfect at circles because I shake, but they don't really have to be perfect, just as long as they look like circles, okay? All right, keep going. Fill them in. And vary the sizes so they're not all uniform. Okay, do a bigger one down here. And if you have a sharp tip on that paintbrush, you should be able to write with it, kind of like you would a pen or a pencil, if you do very lightly with your hand. A heavy hand will make those lines really big, so try to go as lightly as possible. Okay. All right. A bigger one over here. Fill that in. And this is kind of like doing these little details, it kind of is soothing, I think. Kind of get relaxed in your project. Alright. And then a bigger one over here. Okay. See, that came out good. Now let's do some more up in here. If you hear crackling, it's my pumpkin butter candle. I don't know why I like candles when I'm doing artwork, but it's just, I don't know, relaxing. Probably why I do it. I need a lot of relaxation with 3 teenagers. Alright, I'm going to do this one kind of behind this pumpkin, although on the actual painting it's not, but kind of hiding back there. Happy little dot. Yep, see? Fill that little guy in. Alright. And then make room for your little stem that's going to be up here. Now be careful if you're setting your hand on your painting because it might not be dry. But and there we go. Hi. Alright. And some more. I'm going to move my painting down just a little bit so I can do this. These ones are a little bit bigger. Alright. There we go. And you can always go back and film in a little bit if you can see like black and stuff through them. So yeah, no, I'm using it. Sorry. Have a kid asking to use my phone. Alright, one more up here. And then on the other side over here. Alright. It's a good way to let the pumpkins dry a little bit while we're doing this. Alright. And a couple up here. got squirrely on me. There we go. And my hand decides to shake right now. I'm going to actually turn my canvas over so I can do this a little bit easier. There we go. Alright, I'm going to do one more down here. Alright. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get some more of the stems done while I'm waiting for the pumpkin to dry. So I'm going to clean that brush off that I was just using, because I can still use that point for the green. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fill this in a little bit up here. Alright, and there we go. And some of these, now if you go lightly with your brush, you'll be able to have a thin line, and you can kind of work from the thin line and make it thicker. But if you push too hard, you got a fat vine and you're kind of done. So make sure you have a pointed edge. And kind of going out and down and in. Like so, okay? The swirlies are the hardest part, the swirly vines. And I'm gonna come down here and do this one. Down from here. Let's see if you can see. I'm gonna make a leaf, like so. I'm actually gonna do two. Kind of swirlies. There we go. So I like making these paintings my own, so I don't do exactly what they have in the image, but people get particular. They like to have their stuff look exactly the same. You can do that too. I did mine a little different. Alright, now I'm going to go up. Now I'm gonna put another little leaf like in here at the bottom of the pumpkin because I can. There. Kind of gives it some more zhuzh. All right, and up in here, I'm gonna turn my canvas around because my hand shakes like I showed you before. So I'm gonna turn it around and I'm gonna go, oh my goodness, hold on. All right, my computer keeps trying to freeze on me. We got those ones. Now we gotta come from here. And then it has like another stem comes out. I'm not gonna do the big leaves over here because I don't really like those, but if you want them, you can have them on your painting. Nobody's stopping you. But I'm gonna do some more little leaves on this side after I fill this in a little bit. All right, there we go. I like that. And then the stem on your little pumpkin. Hopefully your big pumpkin's dry. And this one kind of goes and curls in on itself. So get that little curl in there if you can. And then gently paint over your big pumpkin. There we go. And then some swirls in here. I'm gonna paint this first before I do the other swirls because my big pumpkin still needs some TLC. But something similar to this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna put a leaf back here on this one too. All right. And I'm gonna do one more swirly in here. All right, so I'm gonna rinse this off. And then I'm gonna go back with my big paintbrush. I'm gonna need more of that orange again. And we don't have too much left. I just gotta go over this a bit. Oh no. Alright. See, that craft paint does not like mixing with the Liquitex. but I'm gonna make it work. Alright. I'm assuming it's just like when I use multi-surface craft paint with the regular matte, they're two different kinds of ingredients, so they like do this to each other. And it doesn't help when it's not quite dry. So I'm gonna lightly go over. I'm gonna actually start adding some of this yellow. There we go. And go down from the top, like so. So mine's a little bit lumpy because of the two different paint types, but should be able to smooth it out as I go along. Okay. And then on this one, I need some more of that orange. Just about out. Alright, I'm gonna get a different. Here we go. So go over this color. Like so. My little pumpkin's looking way better than my big one. There we go. Alright, rinse that out. And now add some of this yellow. Even if it's not all the way dry, that orange, you can add the yellow because it'll blend nicely in there. There we go. Nice and brightened. Okay, so I'm gonna be done with this part of the pumpkin because if I go any more on it, I'm gonna ruin it. So I'm gonna rinse that off, and I'm gonna go back over my stems a little bit with some yellow and white. So that like light orange and some white, mix it together. And I'm just gonna go lightly over some of it, okay? It's actually better if the paint is already like kind of dry a little bit, because then you get, it won't be like bright, but there we go. And kind of zhuzh it on there. I don't know why I like that word, but I do. All right. I'm gonna go back and put some green on that. All right. And now and then lightly go in and try to put that yellow in. All right, so there's the yellow on that green, okay? And I'm gonna go back up here a little on this and put some green back in. There we go. All right, and then if you want, I'm not even gonna rinse that brush off. I'm going to go ahead and do some of these swirls in here. Now, be careful because mine's not dry, so I'm a little worried, but I'm gonna go ahead and go in. Like so. Just kind of try to lay it on top of that paint so it's not scratching it off. There we go. I'm concentrating, so that's why I'm quiet. Get that point on there. I'm going to come down with this one. Like so. There we go. And then maybe there we go. All right, so you would let that dry and then go over it with that yellow again. Mine's not dry, so I'm not going to do it, but you guys can do it later. And then I'm just going to go ahead and outline with that. I'm going to do that pavement color I got earlier, and I'm going to go around my pumpkin very carefully, okay? So try to have a steady hand when you're doing this. Okay. Because you don't want it, I don't want it too black, you know? Because I want it to kind of stand out, but not over exaggerated too much. All right. this line a little bit. And then some of them come down like all the way. I'm going to do this one all the way too. Here we go. Alright. And on the big one now. So be careful. And try to think of the sections that you started out with, okay? And just gently drag it down. Might have to go back for more paint like I did. But go gentle all the way down. Now I'm going to go up with this one, but be careful when you do that. That you're not too heavy-handed when you do. There we go. And to get that sharp tip, you have to roll it in the paint. Okay. And this one goes all the way down here. So I'm just gonna drag it up a little bit. Okay. All right. And that outside edge there. And just about done. It's getting thick on me there. Thin it back out. There we go. So your pumpkin should look similar to this. Doesn't have to be exact, but you want it to pop. So it should look like that, and that is literally it. Go ahead and make sure you tag me in your paintings. We're gonna be back next Friday. Hopefully this time it'll be recorded so we won't have to go so long. Kind of, you can fast forward and do what you need to through it. But this today's painting, I hope you enjoyed it. And go ahead, like I said, post it, your painting, and tag me in it, and hopefully we can share our pumpkins together. So I didn't do the highlights in here because it's still wet, so if you do, finish those, okay? Don't forget about that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day and a good weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.